Russ Blanc here with Western Oregon baseball coach Jeremiah Robbins, and Jeremiah, we're in the fall here. Obviously, the 2009 your baseball season doesn't start for till we turn the calendar year over in about February or March. But fall's a very important time for you and your program. Tell us what you do here when school gets started and your players come rolling in.
Well, we get our kids in. This year we're bringing them in 2 weeks early. One reason for that is, school starts the 28th. Gives us a little bit more time to get them acclimated to campus and to the program. With NCAA regulations, we get 24 days in the fall that we can have our whole club together. So we'll be out there. Obviously, it's a bit grueling in the fall, but rewarding time for us coaches to get back out on the field, see the new kids that we got coming in. It's fun for us. And then after those 24 days, we'll get into our individual workouts later in the fall, deeper into the fall term. But early in the fall, it's a great time. We have beautiful weather here, so we're very excited about that.
Obviously, a very important time of evaluation for you as you've got your players coming back that you're familiar with, but you want to see what they've done in the summer to get better. You've also got a crop of new players coming in who are battling for spots. What do you do during that time to evaluate them? I know in the past you've had a red-gray game or a red-white game to get them in a game-like situation so you can take a look at them.
Absolutely. We try, once we get them in shape, obviously that first week is getting them back on the field. We obviously getting the pitchers ready to go. But as soon as the kids are ready to throw, we can get some innings out of our guys. We get right into inter-squads. We love the inter-squad. Try to get 3 to 4 a week, and obviously give some days off in between. But the inter-squads are huge for us. Just getting them in that game situation. Later in fall, about the last week of our 24 days, we'll get into we call it the Red and White World Series, where the coaching staff, we have a draft and everything. We have a lot of fun with it on the coaching side. And we draft our guys, and we go out there and compete and play a World Series. So it's fun. The kids understand it. They have a great time with it, and it's a great way to wrap up our fall ball.
You also have another event in the fall that I want you to talk about a little bit, an event that involves your baseball alumni. And there's a lot of good ones out there over the years. Western Oregon has been very solid in baseball. You want those guys to come back and play against your kids?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I think we've missed the boat a little bit on, and I'm full to blame on that, is getting our alumni back, get them back on campus. We've got a weekend set up. This is October 3rd, 4th weekend. We got a home football game with Southern Oregon, I believe. So we're excited about that, the mini Civil War game, and get our guys back on campus, play against our kids. It's fun. So far it's been really good. The feedback we're getting, a lot of that 2001 team that went to the World Series is very excited to get back and do some things against us that they think they can. So we're excited for them, and to get them back reacquainted with the program, and once a wolf, always a wolf.
All right, let's take a look, or a look back, I should say, at last year. You win the conference title and host the regional tournament, finish up about 3rd in that mix. Winning conference titles is old hat here in the Great Northwest Athletic Conference for you. So you've got to take a step beyond that to get yourself to the regional tournament. There's no automatic berth for winning the GNAC because there's not enough baseball teams. Tell us what it takes to be a player in the West Region level, and as you hope, a national team player in what is probably the toughest baseball region in the country.
Well, the big thing for us is we got to go out of conference, and with everything is a number system to get to that and get an at-large bid. So we want to go out and play the best teams out there, out of our league, but in our region, which are the Chico States, the San Diegos, the Sonoma States. We try to get them on our schedule every year. Usually you have to play them your first 2 weekends of the season. Fortunately this year we got Chico State later in the year. That'll be interesting how that plays out, but it's definitely a grind. The GNAC itself is a grind of playing each team 8 times in league, and you go and you battle a weekend, you play 4 games in 2 days, and hopefully you come out of it 3 out of 4, and it's definitely a lot of pressure on the kids, and then you mix in your out-of-conference games against nationally ranked teams. So, the mentality of our kids is phenomenal here for us to get to a regional. I mean, 4 out of the last 5 years we've been to that regional. We've been knocking on the door, we've been close, obviously, and we feel good about our pitching this year, so, we're looking to open that door a little bit. But it's definitely a grind with how the NCAA's got it set up with the point system, and have to score points to get into that regional.
Right, because you're battling for 4 playoff spots. with the CCAA, all the teams in Southern California and Northern California, the Hawaii schools. I mean, and there's very few spots available, especially the Northwest is the last place to look to put a team in there traditionally.
It is. It is. The CCA has been the dominant conference in our region, rightfully so. They have some phenomenal teams down there, but we're starting to make some noise up here in the north and doing very well. There's 21 teams in our region right now, I believe, with the addition of Academy of Arts. So it's, to be one of those top 4 out of those 21 teams, it's tough to do for sure.
All right, talk a little bit about your team as you head into to 2010. What are some of your strengths? What holes do you have to fill?
I think our biggest strength is obviously going to be pitching. This is the first year since I've been here that we feel very good about what we have coming back on the mound. Obviously, Blake Kietzmann, I mean, that's a no-brainer when you return an All-American. But the other side of it too is we return our bullpen. We return some quality guys out of the pen: Jesse Nunley, Brad Carter. We've got some guys that have been kind of on the shelf. We got 3 kids that were coming off of arm injuries. 2 of them are returning all-league guys: Mike Cusick and Mike Ward, and along with Jared Thompson returning too. So, to return that quality of staff has definitely got us very excited. Some holes to fill. We got Cesar Lopez back. We're excited about that. He redshirted last year. We do lose our starting center fielder and player of the year in Travis Fox. Our outfield is going to be our biggest question mark this year, which, as a coach, that's a pretty good problem to have because we feel very good about our outfield situation with the kids that we brought in. Catching, we lose our backup catcher and Taylor Maris, so there's a hole we got there. Other than that, we feel very confident about our club. Recruiting was very good this year. There are a lot of quality kids out there that were able to come our way, so we feel very fortunate to get what we have, and we'll make a run.
Quickly, before we sign off, I want you to talk a little bit about Blake Kietzmann, because that's a pretty unusual situation. He drafted in the 15th round, which is very high in baseball circuits. It's the highest Western Oregon's ever had a player drafted. He got offered bonus money by the Seattle Mariners, but he turned it down to come back to Western Oregon. Pretty unusual setup.
It is very unusual. And as the staff and I were watching the draft on the internet there, and when he went in the 15th, we knew he was gone, and we were talking about it in the office and started preparing. And 2 weeks later, he's coming back. So to have a kid come back, and he's doing it for the right reasons. With this day and age, with all the hype these drafted kids are getting and the money and all this, and he's coming back to get his degree. And I tell you, it's phenomenal what he's doing, and we're proud of him. And he's going to be fine. He had the knee surgery this summer. He's right on track. I talked to him yesterday, in fact, and he's actually a bit ahead of schedule. He'll be throwing for us in the fall. We have a scout day that the scouts come in and watch. He'll be able to throw for them. So, there's no doubt this kid's got a career in the game, but he's also going to prepare for another career after the game's over with that degree in his hand.
Good to hear. Don't always hear that anymore these days. So lots to look forward. Western Oregon baseball coming up here in the spring, and don't forget that date, the alumni date on October the 4th on Sunday, Western Oregon versus your alumni. Thanks for joining us, Jeremiah.